Meanwhile, final preparations are getting underway for tomorrow night's New Year's Eve celebrations in Times Square. Always a big party there. The massive New Year's Eve ball has been put in place and security is already being deployed. More than 7,000 NYPD officers are going to be on hand there. Marlie Hall is live in Times Square with the very latest. Marlie, I know from covering last year, there are probably people already showing up with everything about to be ready to go.
That's right, Jamie. I mean, it's really crowded here in Times Square. You can barely get down the street, and preparations are underway. The final preparations are underway. Everywhere you look, you see police officers. Now, this area will be very densely packed come tonight and tomorrow morning and right before that ball drops. So police are really on alert, and they're doing everything they can to keep people safe.
You know, we're going ahead and showing video of the NYPD setting up those pens that a lot of the crowd has to be kind of confined to for much of the day. We're watching bomb-sniffing dogs walk by. I can hear sirens behind you right now, Marlie. This is because 1 million people pack in there. Can you talk about some of the other things people can expect? I know that there's, no umbrellas allowed, and you shouldn't bring a big bag, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Police are expecting up to 2 million people here in Times Square. And as I said, they're expecting it to be very jam-packed. And it's a relatively small area. It's only a mile long and 2 blocks wide. And they're encouraging people to be on alert. They're also encouraging people not to bring any large containers, backpacks, or umbrellas. And that's also part of keeping everyone safe.
Can you give us kind of a little bit of the vibe down there today as they gear up for this? I can see some police officers over your right shoulder, some of the extra measures. I know last year there were snipers, but we've seen now some of these other terror attacks in other parts of the world. I'm sure they're not taking any chances.
That's correct. It's really crowded here right now. People have already begun to stream in, and I spoke to a number of people earlier, and many of them are not traveling alone. They've got their spouses, their cousins, their friends. Everyone's enjoying the festivities in a group, and there's definitely an air of excitement here in Times Square going into the new year. And police are really taking unprecedented measures this year for the first time ever because of the terror attacks in Europe earlier this year. They're bringing in 65 sand trucks that weigh 40 tons each. They're also doubling the number of vehicle or blocker vehicles, and they're doing that to basically create a hard perimeter that vehicles cannot pass through to limit access points, all in an effort to keep people safe. Now, police officials say they're not doing this in response to any directed concern or threat, but it's simply a precautionary measure. And many of the folks that I spoke to today say they do feel safe. They're noticing the heightened security, the increased police presence, and they're feeling safe going into the new year here in Times Square.
That's good news. I hope everybody stays safe, including you, Marlie Hall, live in Times Square. Thank you so much for your report.